Hi, my name is Finley Whitman, and I am going to talk about the summary, I'm doing a summary of fraud, the types of cards, and online banking. Fraud, number one thing is no bank is going to ask for your information online or over the phone or anything like that. They're going to require you to come to the building. So if you are asked for any type of personal information like your routing number, account number, anything like that, over the phone, saying it's some company needing this or that, most likely it is fraud. And to just avoiding that is common sense. Just being aware of what banks require of you and what they don't require of you will help you avoid any type of fraudulent charges that may appear on your account. You have also, like, the bank will give you some options as well depending on your bank. If you ever have a lost card, even if you think you lost it at home or your kids took it out of your wallet or whatever it is, always report that stolen card because you never know what may have happened to it. And depending on from the time that it was lost and the charges were made, if you don't make it soon enough, you can't recoup as many of those losses as you would have been able to from the beginning. So it's important to report those charges as soon as possible. And sometimes they just may be a bank error. So, but even then, just make sure. And some banks may have fraud protection and things like that. So make sure that you're covered on all of those bases when you go to choose a bank or anything like that. The types of cards. Also, another thing, you should never give out your PIN number ever, 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 unless it's your spouse, because you don't know who's listening or what they can do with that if they take your card, and that can be very dangerous as well. So the different types of cards, you can get a debit card, which is basically just you put money in the bank and the card you swipe it and you get money right out of the bank. You could also get a credit card, which, depending on where you get the credit card from, they will charge you interest, a certain amount of interest, the longer you take to pay it off. So say I spend $150 on furniture today, but I can't afford to pay it off in one lump sum, then that's going to accrue interest, and I'm going to have to pay off the interest plus the cost of the item that I purchased. So those are the types of cards you can have. You can also have just an ATM card where, and it's mostly for younger children or for younger people that aren't old enough to have a debit card yet, and they can go to an ATM and they can take money out of the ATM. Some places let you purchase with an ATM card, but I know from experience that some do not. So just be aware of who accepts them and who doesn't, and when you're going to need to take cash out if you're younger and going to go shopping. But it's a good thing for them to learn how to use the bank system and what to expect when they're with a financial institution as they age and move on to bigger purchases. The advantages to having an ATM card are your assets aren't as liquid. You will probably avoid spending money because some places don't take the card. With a debit card, you can have, it can also be a little less liquid than cash, but you have the option of just having your money when you need it. But it could also be pretty dangerous when you're just swiping your card and spending all your money and you're not really seeing what's happening unless you're keeping an accurate count of what's coming out of your account and coming into your account. And so that can be hard too. But if you keep an accurate and a reasonable ledger, or if you have it on your phone, if you're using online banking app or anything like that, you can keep track of what you're spending and what your balance is in your card and your account, so you're not gonna so you can avoid accruing any overages, overdraft charges. A credit card, it can be a good and a bad thing. I think they're good when you're learning how to manage your credit and take care of things like that, but it can be dangerous because you think, oh, this is an emergency, I need to use this card for this emergency or that emergency. Well, anything can be an emergency when you're pressed for money, and if you have that card just sitting there, most likely you're going to use it, and you're going to start accruing interest, and if you can't pay that item off right away, then it can be a problem. and you can end up spending a lot more money than maybe the items were even worth. So that can be dangerous, but it's a good thing if you can pay off the balance at the end of the month, and use that card just to build your credit up. So when you go to get an apartment or get a car, they can look up your credit and say, oh, look, they've been good about these payments and that payments. And it's essential to have some type of credit built up when you do purchase items like that, or a house even, things like that. They need to see those credit statements or that credit score. So it's a good thing to have to learn, but it can be very dangerous if you are not self-disciplined. Some online banking, most big banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, they're going to have a very up-to-date and accurate, almost a live count of what's in your account, and they have very up-to-date apps now where you can take a picture of your check and deposit it into your checking account. You can move money in between your accounts online. Like if I want to move $25 into my savings account every month, or $50 or whatever it is, I can create that transfer where it just comes out and I don't have to do anything. I can create a recurring transfer. But some of the smaller banks, like credit unions or local banks, sometimes their options are not as big. They do not have as many, their feed is not as alive as the big banks are. But then you get more of a, when it comes to customer service, it may be a little bit better, because it is a smaller institution and they want to treat their customers well. It's really good for online banking when you have bill pay. Bill pay can be a huge help to people that know when their income is coming and then know when the bill is coming up, and so they can just make that transfer just as long as they're aware of when each transaction is coming out. It can be a huge help because then you're not missing payments, you're not accruing late charges or anything like that. It's going right to where it needs to go. And that's really important. And you also have the option of, I know that my bank, I don't know much about other banks yet, but my bank, they do a keep the change transfer, where if there's some change, like say I spend $1.30 on something, they take that 70 cents and automatically transfer it to my savings account. And I've saved money doing that, and I get my savings account built up. Even though it's little change here and there, it can really help. Those little amounts can help your savings account and boost that money up a little bit. But yeah, so there's a lot of options. Like I said, I don't know every single one of them, but I know of the basic ones that happen for each bank, and to just be aware of them. You can also stop checks online. So if you write a check and it was sent to the wrong place, or if there was a check written and it wasn't you, or some type of fraud happened online, there's the option to go and stop a check. Most banks also have a live chat, so if you don't want to wait on hold forever and ever and ever, somebody's online ready to chat with you, and you can get some questions answered. So yeah, thank you.